Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I'm Alex Whiteley, and we've timed this perfectly today. I've just come back I was in town recording some very good historical audio tours with the amazing Nigel Baker. I've been putting these things together for Original Shrewsbury. There'll be more information on that very soon on how you can access all these things. We're trying to plan a great day where you can turn up into town, throw in an audio tour in your ears and just go around town and be a tourist in your own town. It's really, really cool. And today I'm speaking to Ange Barre from the Shropshire Epilepsy Support. And I've got to give a shout out to Andy McEwen, who I spoke to him on the phone and he's like, I met these interesting people. I did a light display for him, which he does amazing job there on the side of the market hall, and introduced me. So thank you, Andy, for that. So Ange, how are you? You good?
Hello. Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. And thanks very much for the invite. I really appreciate that.
When it comes to raising awareness and how we can help people, community is an important thing to me, whether it's charity, whether it's health, whether it's history, like we've just mentioned, whether it's, whatever it is. I like to help people in any way I can. And what you guys are trying to do with raising awareness for epilepsy, I think is fantastic because I don't know an awful lot about epilepsy myself. I don't know what we can and what we can't talk about, but we're going to discover that today. And this is to raise awareness in how people can react and be around people with epilepsy like yourself, and how we can help you, in general. So first of all, is this you suffer from epilepsy yourself, right? I say suffer. That sounds like a terrible thing to say. Is that right?
No, I really don't get offended by anything anyone says. It's something I've dealt with since 8 years old.
So 8 years old is when you.
It was when I was diagnosed, when I started having seizures. So it's not something I was born with.
And growing up in school with this, I suppose you don't know any different, really. This is your life, isn't it? But was it difficult for you in school, trying to fit everything in around that?
It was very difficult. It was really difficult. I would say some of the worst times of my life, really. It's trying to get your head round things. At the time back then, not knowing anyone else with it, not being shown anyone else, just thinking that you were the only person with it. Not being told anything by GPs, what it is. You would just go by what you've seen by the media, really, and what you've been told by. Which
we all know is probably dangerous and a dangerous way to live, living by what the media says.
Extremely dangerous. When they told me, first of all, I remember crying because the first thing I thought would be I'd just fall on the floor and just I would look very strange and different to how all my friends looked, but that wasn't the case.
And when we look at people in general, I've said famously in a couple, but I don't hate people, but like in general, people can either be really, really fine and get on with life, but they can also be quite uncompassionate and rude and cruel. When it comes to people with no compassion, with something that you're suffering with like this, I guess that must have been terrible. People just not understanding. I don't mean to be, bring any bad things, but people pointing at you and not knowing what's going on and being cruel about it. That must have been difficult for you.
To be honest, I really didn't take much offence to it. The way I look at it is, if people do that, if people do say things that I don't like, I really don't take offence, because I just see it at a lighter point, really, and just say, well, it's them who haven't been educated as well. Yeah. So they're not being truly nasty, the majority of them. It is that they just haven't been educated, and when you do talk about it, they're mostly absolutely fine by it.
That's nice to hear that. We kind of learning about things as we go along. And it seems weird, doesn't it, that life before the internet just seems like the dark ages when it comes to information. And I guess in some ways it's great. In other ways it's maybe not so great, because then you get misinformation. When it comes to, like you saying, you could only get your information from the media or minor outlets that you can find things. But now we've got the internet with all this information available to us. How was that for a transition for you?
It was very different. Different is the word. Although I didn't look much on it, to be honest, and there wasn't that much out there at the time. And the thing that I really wanted was something close by to help me, people to talk out, not to actually look on the computer and read stuff. You really wanted to talk to someone who had that experience themselves. But even now, it's very, very difficult, and people find that so hard, and that's what they really want.
This is going to seem like a weird pull, but I think it's a kind of a good analogy. I was watching Young Sheldon with my family last night, which is a spin-off from Big Bang Theory.
I love that.
It's a really weird sitcom to watch because it really hits home family sometimes, and not just the good parts of family. There was a part where Sheldon's dad comes in and shouts at him for doing something wrong, and Sheldon cries, and you don't see that on a sitcom normally. Genuinely cried like my kid would if I shouted at him. But there was where was I going with this? There we go. They found a family with a child that was very similar to Sheldon, and they invited him around so they could talk about how difficult the difficulties they've had raising a child like Sheldon. And they found out that their kid was perfect, and then all of a sudden they found all these things that they had in common. And it's all about talking about these things. And this is what they were saying. No. We're here to talk about the difficult situations. And they had this amazing conversation when they found out all the similar sort of problems they have in this situation. You know, their situation in the show was that they put one of the parents puts all their time into the kids and sort of doesn't really pay attention to the other side of the family. And the point I'm trying to make is talking about it, meeting people similar to yourselves and building a community where you guys can talk amongst yourselves and find out where you've had challenges and ways that you've managed to sort of help yourself, you know? And I think that's where the internet probably helps you guys, or bringing people with epilepsy together so you can discuss, right?
Well, once again, I didn't have anywhere else to go to.
Yeah.
So actually setting up this charity was the first that I got to meet people face to face.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was really it was challenging before that. There weren't people, and when you went to speak to people like specialists or UK charities, they were normally people who had been paid by the charities, so not many of them had actual epilepsy themselves. So you were talking to someone who was
read it out of a book.
Yeah, definitely. So they didn't actually know what you were experiencing properly. That sounds like it must have been so difficult. And I don't want to keep going on, but I want to build a background to sort of you living with this and then learning that you wanted to help other people. That's just a really nice thing, because some people just get on with it. But you reached out and you wanted to help people, I guess. When was the first time? Obviously, wanting to help people is not for everybody. Not everybody can do that, but you wanted to. When's the first time you realised that you wanted to create something like Shropshire Epilepsy Support where you can help people? Probably from my worst experiences, like I said, with school. And I have to say I was extremely depressed and I did feel want to commit suicide, and I did contemplate that. But when I moved on further and I realised there was more out there for me, then I looked more into it, really. And when having my child, I really wanted my daughter to not feel left out, to not feel as though she had a mother who had problems and that she would be completely different. I wanted her just like the other children around, and be able to do everything that the others did. I got my passion really from her, and anything that came forward, like I remember at the time, people sometimes who were very close to me would say, "No, don't have a child. That's quite unfair of you, because you might actually give them epilepsy through genetics. You might not be able to look after her. That's not for you. You would not be good with that. And I love a challenge. I love
you. I think you're great.
I'm not saying being a parent is a challenge, but what I'm saying is like, do you know what? I will prove you wrong. I will prove you wrong there because I want to be a parent, and I'm going to show you that I'm not going to just sit there. I'm not going to just take what people say, and I'm going to prove you wrong. That I'm going to be a good parent, and I'm going to be good at what I do.
First of all, I'm sorry that you felt that way in school about, being suicidal. But at the same time, I love your fight. I love that about you, that from this deep, dark place has come this, and so much courage. And it's come out of this. When it comes to charities, businesses, and sometimes, amazing ideas, children, when we have our children, our mindsets change. And there are so many amazing ideas that come from what we want to do for our kids and what we want to pass on to them. And I love that, your fight. I love that saying, I fancy a challenge. Like, don't tell me I can't have kids. I'm going to have kids and I'm going to do it right. So, that's very inspirational.
Well, I remember looking into fostering before, because sometimes it can be quite difficult for people with epilepsy to have children on the medication that I was on. So I did look into fostering, but once again, at that time, I don't know whether it's changed. I would hope so. But, I don't know whether it has. But I was told, no, you can't because of the epilepsy.
That's very sad. It's a human right. You can have kids. And it seems like you're doing a great job. And when it comes to kids, they're like sponges, and I feel like there are so many. I don't want to get political. I mean, I say that and then I end up getting political. But when it comes to some of the major problems in the world, where it comes to discrimination, where it comes to racism, when it comes to sex and race and all these kind of things, we start young and we teach kids the right lessons and teach compassion. I think compassion should be taught in schools, So starting from young, like what you're doing with your daughter and passing that on to others as well. I mean, I was looking on YouTube, the videos that you've done for children's first aid with the Viv Kelly dance school. My mind was blown. I was like, yes, this is what we need to... First aid for children, how do you deal with epilepsy? These are conversations we need to have, right?
Definitely. I mean, when my daughter went to school, I would remember coming into the playground with loads of bruises, cuts, and I reckon people would probably wonder what on earth I've been doing. But the thing was just to talk about it, to say, this is the reason why, and explain to teachers what help we might need. So I could be occasionally maybe a little late, 5 or 10 minutes because of it, but nothing bad. But she would be at school every single day, and that's what we need to do. And as she was a bit older, I decided I want to help her. And there were some children from the school as well who had epilepsy. I was like, I'm going to go in and speak to them. I'm going to speak to the children in the school as well as the teachers. So I went to the assembly, did some stuff, went into a class and gave a talk to the children. And I have to say, like you said, they're like sponges. I was a bit worried about what their reaction would be, but it's the best reaction that I could ever have had, because my daughter still comes back now and says, oh, this person's asked how you are. They still remember you. And that's from years ago. And
I think, do you think it helps sort of deal with some of the major myths when it comes to epilepsy? Sort of have these conversations with young people. You may hear and see this. You may have seen this, but that's not trure. But this is also true. Sort of like get rid of some of the misinformation, I guess. It's not so much the children, really, to be honest. It's the adults that is the most struggle with. And you'd think quite a few of the myths have gone away,
But
what are some of the common myths? I would literally wrote the myths. I thought, there's got to be some. There's got to be some that's.
There is so many. There is so many. First of all, that you could maybe catch it from someone else.
Wow.
Who's. But it's a condition. It's a neurological condition. It's not something you can catch from someone. Other things would be. Like people with epilepsy will struggle with flickering lights. Well, that's a complete myth, but it's something you see from media. So loads of people.
That's something I genuinely thought.
No, and I'll stun you here.
Okay, let's do it. Let's stun me.
Sorry about the statistics here and everything.
No.
But you always see this like on films and stuff saying. Flashing lights and everything for people with epilepsy. Well, say here actually, only 3% of people with epilepsy actually suffer from photosensitivity seizures, which is seizures that will be triggered by lights, flickering lights. So it's really quite rare. So you need more help for other seizures, really, and the triggers of them.
I did a vlog with the guys from Rocking Horse Media. We're following a TV pilot, and they'd made a feature film, and there was what they called the God scene, and I recorded little bits of that because it was really cool how they made it, and there was a flickering light, and I put a thing warning there is lights, which I guess for the 3% of epilepsy that kind of just helps. But I did that because I see it in the news all the time. Beware flickering lights.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if people who do suffer from photosensitivity epilepsy, it doesn't have to be just by flickering lights people are triggered by. It could be just walking past a tree or something and lights are shining through. But like I say, it's only 3%. There's so many triggers, so it can be to do with stress, hormones, to do with genetics. I mean, even with the age, with the hormones, can be a big trigger
really?
For females.
So, young people maybe going through puberty and things might have a terrible time with it. You think is that?
Not just a terrible time, but that's when it might start, the epilepsy, the seizures, and then they're fortunate enough of when their hormones settle down a bit, then their seizures can actually go away. So epilepsy can't be cured, but sometimes it can go away, and people can get medication, therapy to help lessen the seizures.
And when we with the general knowledge of how to help someone with epilepsy in their day to day. Certain things there, and maybe shops can operate certain things differently, or at least have the awareness with the first aid. How to deal with someone if someone has a seizure in the shop. How to deal with someone that has a. But how to help someone that's having a seizure. Do you feel like there's enough out there?
Definitely not. No. Definitely not. That is part of the reason why I try to do training for businesses, and we actually do get quite a bit of interest, and we love the feedback from people, but we do want more people to do it. The thing is, we try to say is it's not just people with epilepsy who have seizures. Anyone can have a seizure. So it could be you just going through, it could just be a one-off seizure. So it's really important to know the first aid and how to help someone who has seizures.
There was the video you put about absent seizure?
Absent seizures.
Got it right.
Yeah.
What is that compared to like a normal seizure?
Well, it is a normal seizure.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Well, there's actually over 40 different types of seizures.
Oh, wow.
And people, once again, don't realise that. But it's one of the most common ones that there is. Of course, the other common one would be like a tonic-clonic seizure where you fall to the ground, or there's focal seizures. So some you actually wouldn't notice. Maybe by that film that you saw, you wouldn't really notice that much.
Someone just stops and whatever it is going on around the room, they just fade out, right?
Yeah, just for three up to 30 seconds. It can just be a quick couple of seconds, momentary loss of consciousness. So you're not going to fall down or anything, but you probably lose a bit of memory after that, and then you can just carry on straight away.
And I guess it's really important that schools know how to deal with this situation, right? Because, back in the old day, they'd be like, "Oi, Roberts, stop being lazy," or "Wake up," or doing all this sort of stuff. If you can spot the signs and you know what's going on, you can give them the space they need and the understanding that they deserve. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do. That would be the way now. Mm-hmm. Back, I think it sounds like historic if I say
no, but I think it's important.
Back in the days, but it's only. I'm 38 now, but when I went to school, they wouldn't even really notice those seizures, so they wouldn't say anything about it. They would think I'm probably just not listening properly, or just zoning out like kids were when they get. If some get bored in a class, they just don't listen.
Amazing. When you put this together, what was the reaction to? What was the feedback like? As soon as you, first of all, the correct question would be asked: when did Shropshire Epilepsy Support begin? When did you put it together?
That was in 2018. First of all, I started off with a very small support group. I was a volunteer beforehand with a UK national charity. I didn't quite like the way it was set up, really, and I just thought, well, I want things a different way. I want to be able to do things. I think things are more important, the things that I wanted. So I thought, well, do you know what? I'll go out and I'll try something. And I had the support of the epilepsy specialist nurse that I had at the time, and said, "Hey, why don't you try it out?" And I thought, I don't know, but yeah, I thought, okay, well, yeah, I will try it out. So I did, and the reaction was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It started off just with the family support group. As I said, the reaction was brilliant, and it hit off, and we just decided that, we're going to make this more. If this is the reaction we have from people, even talking to businesses and things like that, let's do more and make it into a charity. And during lockdown, with the fundraising that we managed to get, the support from people, which we are so lucky with, we managed to get it to registered status, and which has been fantastic.
Well done. That's really nice. What are you doing differently to, say, a national big charity? What are you doing differently that you think may be beneficial to your community?
Well, we're a not-for-profit charity. So all of the people who are with us are volunteers. Not one person is paid. So all the money that people fundraise for us goes straight into helping others and helping the charity support others.
That's good. I have a CIC. The Biscuit's a CIC, and any money that I make has to go into equipment and bits that I need. So I appreciate that. But it's also good because I guess with people that volunteer for you are doing it because they want to, and that's the beauty of it. The passion's there to actually help people, and not there for the money.
Yeah,
I get that.
Definitely. Yeah, we get people with loads of passion. Sadly, some people have died from epilepsy, so their families will come to us and want to help. So it's really great to meet these people, and we will never say no to anyone coming to us. We want trustees, and we would like volunteers, but it's quite difficult if they don't know about epilepsy themselves, because they don't have sometimes as much passion, and you've got to tell them more about this and explain.
First-hand experience is really important in something like this, especially when it comes to, if you've never seen someone have a seizure, how do you deal with that? Because, I had a friend years ago who suffered from epilepsy, and he would have seizures regularly, and we would see it. And the first time was, I was first aid trained. I've been first aid trained since I was 14. So I knew the protocol, clear the area, make sure there's nothing that he can harm himself with, make sure he's okay, time it. And, when he came around, make sure he's okay. Was that okay for you? And if it was different, then we'd call 999. So we lived with that, not lived with it. We knew it would happen. But for the first time, it is quite a panic, you don't know, if you don't know the protocol. If I wasn't the first aid trained person I wouldn't know how to deal with it, So I guess you've got to at least have first-hand experience in dealing with this and being around this before you can be part of the charity. I guess that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, definitely. And just to tell people, it's not something that they do have to be scared of, not to worry about. You talk about panicking and everything, but I'll say to you now, have you, you haven't panicked from the start, have you?
No.
No. Well, I've had a seizure through that. I didn't see you panicking. You didn't even notice, did you?
No.
No. Well, there you go. It's I'd forgotten what I'd saying, but you carry on talking, so I bring it back and try to remember things, and then just carry on with it. So that's one type. I've got 3 different types of seizures. So another one would be the tonic-clonic seizures, which is what people normally think of with epilepsy, where you'd fall on the ground. Yeah,
so that's what I helped with my friend. And I saw the video you put on Facebook that you sent me the link to, which was, first of all, I felt so much empathy towards you, because there's a video that Ange released where your face was bruised and bloodied, where you'd had a seizure and fallen over and hurt yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Did these happen often for you?
I go through good patches and bad patches. Now, I'm uncontrolled, so they can happen at any time, absolutely any time. The absent seizures, I can get up to 50 a day. And the tonic-clonics, sometimes they can happen twice a week. Sometimes they can happen like once a month. It's just so random. And I'm probably the most nightmare patient you can get for specialists, because it is just so random.
Yeah, and this is why we need to raise awareness for this, for people, and ways, that we can all get along and understand each other, because, like you said, I didn't realise you'd had a seizure during then, and it's an amazing thing to learn about, because I'm not trying to be ignorant in any way, shape, or form. I knew there was absent seizures, but I didn't realise there was 30 different types of seizures that you could have.
It's over 40.
That's why we're here today.
And then every person is different when it comes to seizures. So do you want me to explain a little about what a seizure actually is?
Yeah, please do, yeah.
Right, okay. Well, everyone's got electrical activity in their brain, haven't they? Yeah. Well, it's an excessive bit of electrical activity that hits the brain at one time, and it causes the messages to disrupt. It disrupts the pattern of the brain. Now, it all depends with that on where. You're going to have to cut that bit, probably.
No, that's fine.
Sorry.
You're okay.
There you go. I had another one, so.
Oh, fantastic.
I
keep saying fantastic. That's like a bridge for me. That's like a or an R.
Okay. I've got to think what I was doing then.
We're talking about the electricity running through your body.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Maybe you want to put that on then.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I'll start from that bit again.
Okay,
I can't remember that bit.
So you explain to us what a seizure actually is. Talking about the electric currents running through your body and how much when it builds up.
Okay, right, there you go. You've helped me by doing that already, so that's a great thing. not making a big thing about it.
No,
but there you go. It's a sudden burst of electrical activity in the brain, and it disrupts the normal pattern of the brain, and sends messages in your brain that are in different patterns. So people's epilepsy, it depends on where it starts, that activity, the electrical activity, where it starts in the brain, where it goes to, how long it's going on for. And those mixed up messages will cause your body to do different things. So a person may have memory loss. It may cause them to not see things as well, or see different things. I mean, some people can see different images that aren't actually there. They can become very confused. It's really it's really very random there.
Because everyone's individual, right? It doesn't matter. Everybody has their own different ways of dealing with things and how things affect them, and I guess that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot more sense than it should do, because everybody's different. Oh wow. Do you, when it comes to you personally, are there certain things you need to avoid? Stay away from? Maybe it's gives you anxiety, or maybe you get too excited, or is there certain things that may cause triggers for you?
I don't really know what the triggers are, to be honest. Some people do, and they know exactly what it is and can keep away from that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I don't even. There isn't anything that really triggers it that much. I mean, stress can bring on more seizures for me, and that can be quite a big trigger for people. Is stress.
It's understandable. It really is.
Well, that's one of the factors. But there's so many things that can maybe trigger. I just don't know myself what it is.
And since you guys have become a registered charity, has that had an effect on you guys? Has it amplified you a bit more? More people come towards you because you've been able to, give yourself a bigger voice in that way? Definitely. I mean, by getting that registered charity status, the charity commissions you can go on to, other people can get to see you. We've been asked to do lots of talks. More businesses are wanting to come to us and ask for more information. We even do what's called epilepsy awareness training, where we go to businesses and train up people there. And we even do service for... I don't want to give names, really. No, fine.
But health services, we would go and speak to people, and emergency services. So I've done that in the past, and they have found that really beneficial and have come back.
Because I was looking at the website earlier, and the epilepsy awareness training that you do, it seems like a thing that most businesses should definitely do. All businesses should do. Everybody should be talking about this and making themselves aware. How many, when it comes to coming into businesses, how many people that you speak to are just completely find this a bit like me, really? I'm learning about this as well at the same time. This is what I like to do on the show. I'm learning as the listeners learn. But how many businesses do you go into that are completely alien to this? This is completely alien to them, and they're learning all of these things for the first time? Or how many people know about what you're talking about? Is there
Honestly?
Yeah, honestly?
Okay, well, I'll say that all of the businesses, I've only had a couple that have actually realised what it's about.
Which is kind of a good thing, I guess, in a way, because you are spreading awareness then. You are doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Definitely. Yeah. There's good bits and bad sides to it. I mean, because people haven't heard about things like this before, they are really interested and want to hear more about it. People love being told about different things, learning, don't they? So, it's great to get that out there. The thing that we want is just more places to have that. They don't realise just how important it is. As I said, anyone can have a seizure at any time. You don't have to have epilepsy. Anyone can have a seizure. And 1 in 100 people have epilepsy. So if you're going into town having a walk, you're bound to see someone with epilepsy, but you just can't see them at that time. So it's so important. Someone's going to come in their shop. Someone's going to, I'm sure, be in their business or something, and they need to help those people at some point, because it's not just helping them when they have a seizure. It's because it's not just about the seizure itself. A lot of people are affected by afterwards and the effect it has with it. Some people actually some medications are actually worse. They feel worse on those than they do the actual seizure. So they need to help people. Other things that people get is memory loss, short-term and long-term. So that can be extremely difficult. Lots of people do find that extremely difficult. It's not something you need to say, no, we're not helping that person. It's just something that needs to be helped with.
If it becomes a part of our general day-to-day conversation and we're all aware of it, though, when it happens, we're like, okay, that's the situation. Like what I just did, we'll recap you on that. We'll help you, and we'll understand. Which is all part of raising awareness and just changing. There's a lot of changes happening with how we talk about certain things that were called taboos back in the day, especially when it comes to like things like mental health for men. Recently, the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial, people talking about domestic abuse for men. There's lots of people learning and growing. I saw a quote by Drew Barrymore, I think it was a few days ago, and she was like, she apologized for things she'd said about Johnny Depp without realizing the depth of the trial, and she's like, this is a growing experience for me. And I was like, that's a really humble thing to say, and that's a good analogy for learning. Us learning as people and growing and finding out about things that we didn't know about, and being able to have the conversations as well, because I imagine there are things that people wouldn't dare ask you that you actually are okay with talking about.
Oh, absolutely, definitely. People are normally quite surprised at the depth I will talk about it. I really, as I've said before, I don't get offended. And if I go out with bruises and, if people look, which really doesn't happen that much, to be honest, or it's a quick look. And if they ask something fantastic, I find that actually a really good thing, because it's making them aware, and they can help me and then others as well at the same time. So it is fantastic, and they feel more at ease as well when they know what's happening.
And that was the second part of your video, because obviously when you'd had your tonic, is that right?
Tonic clonic.
I'm very sorry. I'm trying. This is a learning experience.
You don't need to apologise, do you?
No. But when you'd had that and you had the injuries, you did one a couple of days later where you had the black eye still, and you said you were walking around and people would give you looks and throw like snide comments on the way past and stuff. People shouldn't do that. They shouldn't do that, because you just don't understand. You do not know what is going on in that person's life to make comments, and nobody's got the right to do that. Yeah.
No, they haven't. But to be honest, the majority of people aren't too bad with it.
No, I will say that. Yeah.
And let's face it. I mean, we can all be nosy at times, can't we?
Curiosity.
We all exactly. We would like to know what's happened, really. And if someone falls in front of you, I would actually be really quite upset if someone didn't go to them to find out if they were okay or what had happened. Well, that's kind of the same. They're just looking. They're just curious. They a lot just want to know. Do I need some kind of
Are you okay?
help? Yeah. What's happening in their life? So actually, but the majority of them are actually being really quite nice with that.
Genuinely. Kind of almost happened to me on the way up here. I was driving through Bellevue, and you know how they pull like pipes and stuff through those cable box things on the floor. Some guy was pulling on a blue wire. I guess they were doing work, and he fell over as I was driving, and I kind of slowed right down, and he got back up. He's like, "Oh, no, it's fine," and I was like, "Oh, he's fine." But like, yeah, that is it. That's curiosity. That's me wondering, is that guy okay? Not look at this guy. I won't get my phone out. We're going to put this on TikTok.
Exactly. It's not something you need to really worry about, I don't think. People are just curious.
How can people in general help you and the charity and epilepsy in general? What can we do more of to help you guys get by?
Well, more of would definitely be getting the education. We really, really want to get businesses to get these epilepsy awareness training, and we would love them to come to us for that. We want to get referrals as well from GP surgeries. We really need that. We need the people to see that we are out there, which lots of people do already, but we just need that extra. I mean, 1 in 100 people. That's loads in Shropshire, Telford, and Wrekin that we deal with. So people can help us through that way, supporting us, getting the word out there, telling them what services we provide, because we are the only epilepsy charity that provides services in our county, which is really quite worrying in a way, because with that many people, there should be something, but there isn't. And that's not just our county. There are so many just all over the country who don't have anything. We even have people who come from Wales asking if they can come to our groups, get help from us. That's which is quite amazing, really. But at the same time, really quite sad. Because
should be something in Wales. It should be all around them.
Yes, yeah.
So do you speak to, I take it you do speak to other charities across the country then, and sort of network and find out what they're doing and how you can, is that the case, you chat to each other?
Definitely, we try to. I mean, some of the bigger ones, they're not able to help as much because you can't speak to them in depth with it. But some of the smaller ones across the country. There's a similar one to us down in London, which deals with families. And one of the services we put on is family support group, which is sort of dedicated to these families. Really quite passionate about that, and it provides respite breaks for the children. Yes, they're a couple of hours long. They've got their parents there. It can sometimes be the parents who have epilepsy, or it can be the children who have epilepsy themselves. But we want their siblings to come as well, because so many people are affected by it. It's not just the person who's having the seizures. So many are affected by it, and we want to help these people.
I guess if you're a parent, and you're talking about sometimes puberty can be like the catalyst for the seizures beginning. Sorry, I guess that must be a worrying time for parents. So offering your support, and let's talk about what this is and how you guys can live with this condition and how to make things easier for yourselves. Like that's a fantastic service to offer someone, just a conversation about what this is in a nice calm setting.
Well, the great thing with that is that kids do want to be kids, to be honest. Lots of people worry that when you say a support group and an epilepsy support group, you immediately think of sitting down, maybe in a circle or something.
Hi, my name's Jeff.
Getting quite bored. Some of the national charities do coffee and chat, so it's coffee rooms and stuff. Well, when it comes to children, they're going to be so bored, aren't they? I think even sometimes younger teenagers and things like that, it's just going to bore you. And who wants to talk continuously about epilepsy every single month? I mean, I talk about it because that's what I do. But to other people, sometimes they just kind of want to forget about that. They want to zone out. What they want to be is just themselves. And the kids don't want to talk about it, even if they do have epilepsy. What is best for them is just to meet others who are in the same situation. They don't have to talk about it at all. In fact, I don't know many of the children who have. The best thing for them, they've found, is actually just seeing other people with epilepsy or who are the same, or with parents with it, because they never realised that there were others just like them, and the amount of them, and they are really quite surprised.
That's really nice to hear. Well, that just to be around people like yourself, and not people that aren't going to be shocked, or that you understand the life that you live. It's really nice that you can offer that to people, because we've all been there, haven't we? We've all been there where there may be something different, or there may be I suffer from social anxiety. I was chatting to Anna Williams from Lincoln Davis the other day. We were across the road at Percy Throwers in a cafe, and she was like, I can tell she was like looking at me like, what's good? Because when we and Anna chat, it's usually like really casual. Hey, how's it going, mate? You're right, how's it going? But when I was talking about Pod Aid, my new thing, I'm coming up with these ideas. There's people all around me, and I'm a lot quieter, a lot more timid, and I'm not quite being my normal self. And that's because I suffer from social anxiety. When I do meet someone that suffers the same sort of thing as me, I can feel I can talk about it a bit better because they understand. And I guess it's the same with a support group with kids that are from backgrounds that are very similar. I can see how that could be very comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're in a safe area. They feel really safe because if anything does happen, then we can help them in a way. We do know how to respond. They don't need to worry. We go out and do different fun activities each month within that support group, and they absolutely love it. They get so much fun from doing those things. So it's absolutely great. And
I mentioned earlier the YouTube videos, but I feel like these YouTube videos, they're not just not just a YouTube video, but they're very informative. Like I said, first aid for children, or raising awareness about certain things. And you got the help of Viv Kelly Dance School. How did those videos come out? Who made them for you? Because they're brilliant. They really are.
Oh, thank you. Well, it was a lot of hard work, to be honest.
It looks like it as well, and it paid off because they're brilliant.
Oh, absolutely, definitely. It was a mixture of people, really. One of my friends who I was talking to, John Howard, who deals with theatre productions, and he put me in touch with Beverly Baker, and she then put me in touch with the Viv Kelly. She knows them, and we just put it together, and it's my husband's nephew who does the filmmaking as well. So we just all put it together myself, and then put together the experiences that both I have. My husband could input his experiences from it to make it more realistic. If you teach that to the kids,
yes,
and it just goes on from there. And it really was fantastic. The kids were wanting this experience. I mean, we did have to say to them, first of all, if you do these videos, then we do need to make sure that you realise that they will be shown to other people, other schools, and you're okay with that, because people do get terrified at the thought that they may have epilepsy, which you really don't need to be. It's that it's that stigma out there.
Yeah, and this is why we're doing this today. This is why I invited you today, and why we're doing this, because I feel like if the more people I can help, sort of we can help, and you understand that is the most important thing. That, you know, you guys are human beings. I'm a human being. A deaf person is a human being. Somebody that can't walk. We're all human beings, and we need to learn to live around each other. We've done some amazing stuff with the Biscuit. We spoke to Signal, who a charity work with the hard of hearing, and we were talking about at the time we were talking about how the face masks during COVID were very difficult for people to lip read, and how people were struggling in shops because they felt lost. They couldn't. There was nothing anywhere, no way for them to communicate with people, you know, because we need to understand these things. And where can people find the videos? Have you got, is there a YouTube channel just for you guys?
Yeah, we've set up one, a Shropshire Epilepsy Support YouTube, but we also have the Facebook group, so the Shropshire Epilepsy Support Facebook, and we have our website where people can go and view these, and we are trying to get people to share these with them.
That's what I was going to say.
Of others. We want people to go and share these with others.
Yeah.
I mean, we will be doing ones for adults as well, but that's to come really in the next year. These were just specifically aiming at school-age children.
Which I think is great, because like I said, to start young, that was what we were talking about at the beginning. But this is what I want you listeners to do. If you're listening, please go to the Shropshire Epilepsy Support YouTube channel right now. Whilst you're listening to this, grab one of those videos and share it on your Facebook, and tag Shropshire Epilepsy Support in that, so that we can see that you've shared that, because even just telling people, helping raise awareness. That's what we're here to do today. So, you know, how can people help the charity with you guys? Do you take donations? Do you need more? You said you need more volunteers and things. How can people generally help you guys?
Definitely need more people. We never say no to volunteers and stuff. We have recently had our fundraising trustee who's had to leave because they've got another job. So we are really trying to fill their space, because one of the major things about a charity is fundraising. So we really need to put our efforts into that, because if you don't have fundraising, if you don't have the money for things, you can't provide the services that you are at the moment. So
guys, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I really want to do a fundraiser, because, you know, people, I feel like all the time, that's where Pod Aid came from. But if you're feeling like, I really want to do something, I want to raise some funds for a charity, you guys are definitely in need for something like that, and something that can help facilitate that. Put all that together. Fundraising is really, really important for you guys, yeah. Definitely, and donations as well. And people sometimes think, oh, well, what donations could you give to something like that? Well, I mean, recently we started up the No Worries project, which is for adults and children, dealing with the mental health and well-being side of epilepsy, because it's so important. And I had gone to just a random person on the internet to ask about their anxiety books that they wrote, and they came back and they said, "Do you know what? Actually, I'd like to donate a whole load of books to you that you can give to people, because I've got a nephew who has epilepsy and is really struggling, and I'd like to donate all these to you." So donations like that are always fantastic, and we hand out support bags to children throughout the year. If they can't come to us, then we will go to them. We won't leave them out. So we will
give support bags that has fun things in for them, to make sure they're aware that we are still here, that people are still there. Little things that they can do, little leaflets. The No Worries project, we want to be able to put things like, we have worry monsters. I don't know if you've ever heard of those.
No, what's a worry monster?
Oh, right, okay. Well, they're amazing things, I have to say. They look really, really good. Majorly fluffy little coloured. I don't want. They're like aliens, to be honest. and you open up. There's a zip for the mouth, and you open it up, and kids can write down a worry and put it into the worry monster's mouth and zip it up, and either at night time, if they're really young, then a parent can take it out and it looks as though the worry monster has eaten their worry.
Oh, I need to get one for Timmy. Timmy would love that.
It's fantastic. Or people just feel as though they can capture it. And as a child age, when they are young, that is fantastic. We are looking at doing videos for maybe meditation and therapy, for both the adults and children can. So it's always people who can maybe help with that side, or are willing to maybe give their time. I think we all know that economy, prices are going high, and you really can't afford some things. So we do need help with things like that, and although I hate asking people for all those for help when it comes to things like that, because everyone is in a tricky situation with that. But if you don't, then you've got to cut your services, and we don't want to do that.
So
that's not good.
Time is a good donation.
Definitely.
Time's free, guys. Well, yeah, they say time is money, but if you've got time that you can donate to you guys into making something, I was thinking actually that I've got an idea. I do have an idea.
I'd love this.
We'll talk about it off the mic, but I do have an idea.
Talk about it now, because then you've got to do it, haven't you?
Well, I have a friend with who is an amazing puppeteer and voice actress, Jane Pickworth. She's been on the show before. She's awesome. And maybe we could put something together with her for some of the younger children. I don't know. Maybe there's something we could do, making some sort of YouTube.
Well, this sounds good.
Yeah. I'm always thinking outside the box. And me and Jane, we chat every week, and we're looking for something to work on together. We have got an idea of something we want to work on a major scale. But as far as making a couple of YouTube videos for you guys, I think that would be really cool. She's got a genuine Muppet style puppet.
That is fantastic. Well, Jane, I'm not. Alex has put your name forward now, so
I'll have to ask her.
Let's hope.
Yeah. if not, we know people that can help out. But yeah, if we can help you out with stuff, we will do. Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Thank you. We do appreciate just anything. Even if people can put us in touch with others, then that is a really, really good thing. A really great thing.
There are so many aspects to this that can be looked at in a content creation type of way. I love your very honest vlogs. I think they're fantastic. So the more things like that, I guess, are really good for talking points. Maybe a podcast or a vlog or something about how a relationship works with epilepsy. How do you deal with someone that's got epilepsy? How do you help? Videos of them helping them or laughing and joking as a relationship. Well,
that's the thing. I mean, relationship. That's a really difficult situation. Yeah. Lots of people think, they're not going to be able to. No one's going to want them, really. Yeah. Well, the way I got my husband was actually through having a seizure. He had a really kind stranger had come to collect me from the hospital because it was the middle of the night and we couldn't get a taxi.
Where is the book and the movie rights for this? It sounds fantastic.
but just fell in love with him, and it really was fantastic. But having a child as well, I've always thought that it's best to explain to them from the very start. And there are bonuses to having epilepsy, people often think, oh no, what an awful thing, how tragic. Well, actually, I look at things can be an absolute bonus. So memory loss can be awful, absolutely awful. I mean, I've lost a lot of memories as a child, but that can be actually a bonus, because I know school time and everything was one of my worst, and it's kind of mostly forgotten. It's forgotten about. If people come to me, I can't actually remember those people in my life at the time, which is absolutely bizarre.
We've all been there when we're chatting to someone and we've forgotten their name, but you've got a genuine excuse. Oh yeah, that's where that came from. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think getting a marriage works. Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant, because if you have any arguments, if you get annoyed, then after a few days I've forgotten about it, or next morning, I've forgotten about it. Brilliant. You don't have to.
I told you last week I'm going out with the lads. I told you. I definitely told you.
Definitely. So it's absolutely great in respects to that.
It's there are things that creep up on us when it comes to doing things like I do, and one of my favorite stories of a podcast that's just gripped people across the nation, and I'm going to swear, sorry, but it's a podcast called Shagged, Married and Annoyed, and it follows Chris Ramsey and his wife Rosie. And Chris Ramsey is he's the Geordie comedian. It was always on panels. He's very, very funny. He was in Shrewsbury recently, and it's all about their relationship and the clumsy, silly, crazy, nuts, embarrassing things that happens in a relationship, and they just give it to everybody as this is no warts and all, this is our relationship. And it's something that shouldn't work, really, because it's very informal, very casual, but people loved it because they could relate to it. They could relate to a marriage, a working marriage with kids, and the sex and the difficult situations, the embarrassing things, the rows, the arguments. They just give it to everybody. And I feel like something like that could work with epilepsy in a no warts and all. This is warts and all, should I say. This is epilepsy. This is what we do. And I think content like that would be very valuable, I think, to people.
Definitely. I mean, one of the YouTube vlog that I do, it's not to do with the charity. It's just something
Your
myself.
personal.
Yeah, which is called More Than Just a Seizure. And you can see the everyday life there. I will say you can get comments on there, which you will see, and you think, oh God, what are people thinking?
Nasty comments or questions or just general jibber jabber?
Once again, I have. You just don't get the people with the education really to deal with it. And I do get people who have come across and who have seen me having a seizure on the vlog, really, and saying, "Are you sure that's not demons inside you?
Oh wow!
Or do you need help?" And you think, God, really, in this day and age, is that really what you're thinking? But it is. And my daughter and I did something for a national paper. And it went on. It went online, and actually the nasty comments I got that of being a parent with epilepsy and this poor child, was actually they're absolutely normal. She's never had any problems in her life. She's got help. She's got help out there. She's.
You should never have to defend being a parent. Never, ever in your life, And
she does really well at school, and she loves it. She doesn't have any problems at all with that. The thing she has to deal with is, seeing me have a seizure. But she's had that from a young age, and she knows how to deal with that. And it's only at those times, really. I mean, I can get very tired at times because of the medication, but now now she's 10. She can go out. She can see people. She's learnt from a young age. She's grown up from a young age. She's, like you say, they're like sponges. She knows exactly what to do. She can help if she can help. So before, I've had a seizure before, and I've cut myself. And when I wake up, I can't feel anything. So people do think that they get really scared when you've had a tonic-clonic or something like that, oh God, they must be in so much pain. Oh, if they've cut themselves or they've burnt themselves, or I've done things before where I've broken my nose, or broken my finger, or I have actually I was out running and ran into a car.
Oh dear.
Which wasn't the best. Luckily, it wasn't. It was just on the side of the road, and people will just look and just think, "Oh, they must be in so much pain. We need to get all this help." They're very scared. But I do say afterwards, I actually can't feel anything, and I actually won't realise at that time what has happened. People will have to come to me and say what's happened. So when you've looked at some of those videos that have been on the vlog, actually I've had to have my husband explain to me. I'll wake up about 10 minutes later from a tonic-clonic seizure, and I'll say, "Oh, have I had a seizure?" Because it's just something that doesn't feel right. And he say, "Oh, yeah, you've hurt yourself badly." "Oh, have I?" And they just say, "Oh, yeah." And then at that time, I could see lots of blood, but I didn't know where it was coming from, or that I'd hurt myself. It's only really till the next day or quite a few hours later that it actually gets into my head that something has happened.
Wow.
But there's been once before where I have injured myself badly, and about to go to one of the support meetings. And as I say, I'm really passionate about doing those things. Don't want to let people down. And I've said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be absolutely fine. And my husband and my daughter saying, "Oh, I don't know about this. You're not looking the best." Went in, didn't realise I had a really bad black eye, and that I'd cut myself over the eye, really. And a lot of people saying, "Oh, you need to go to a hospital." And after a while, I thought, yeah, actually, I'm not feeling the best. Did have to go, and then realised, I needed 6 stitches to the head, and
Wow.
it was
Is that like an adrenaline then? That because you've come back round? What makes you? Do you know? Do people know why it is you don't feel anything afterwards, or is that particular just for you, or is that common?
No, people who are who have seizures where they're unconscious. I mean, and anyone who is unconscious won't be able to have a feeling or anything like that. And when they come round from a seizure, often they are either very tired and will just have to sleep for a while, or they can suffer from really bad confusion, not understanding things, not taking in the information really, and bad memory loss with it. There's a whole range of things. And you have to say to that person sometimes, make them aware of what's happened. And although you may think that they're really in a lot of pain, some people aren't. They're not. So the pain, you don't really have to be too worried when it comes to things like that. Some people will be. Don't get me wrong. Some people will be in bad pain, and you don't know when that pain will start. But others won't be.
I remember when I was 15, I was talking about earlier, my friend, when I was in the cadets, he'd seizure. We'd see him at times. And, like I was saying before, the first time I dealt with it, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was one of these, like the pace tables. We put one of them up and we put papers up and stuff, and he fell into that and fell to the floor. And naturally the kids sort of rushed towards him. We had to sort of no, give him his space, and let it finish. And luckily there was adult instructors about as well, and they helped him up when he came out and make sure he's okay, let him go out and get some fresh air. But I do remember the first time being like, oh my god, what's going on? And then the second time it got easier and easier. So it's not, you sort of get used to it in a way, but knowing to look for the signs. Just are you, when the first thing you ask, are you okay? Is everything okay? Was this normal for you? And it was kind of rewarding being around that, because then it brought me into it. I knew what to be aware of. That was my first exposure to epilepsy, and it was a rewarding experience in a way, because I was educated now.
Yeah, I don't think it ever gets easy for someone, because you're always going to worry about whether they're okay. It's a very serious condition. People can die from this. Yeah. And if people have uncontrolled epilepsy, then the more chance that they will die younger. So it's very needed. The actual advice out there, the help people can give to people. Educating people is very important.
Well, do you know what? Our talk today has been really rewarding, and thank you so much for. I know we've done an hour and 10 minutes, which is good. No, that's good.
Well, I hope I've managed to maybe help you learn something from it. I mean, lots of people do, and as you can see, I can talk for ages about it. People can come to me, and I love speaking about them. Sometimes you just have to shut me up when it comes to stuff. Oh, never. That would never happen. We'll just do a part 2 on the biscuit if we need to. I hope I haven't sounded ignorant or dumb in any of my questions. No, definitely not. We get loads of people like this.
I like fact-finding conversations like this. I love learning and like we mentioned earlier, growing as a person and finding out these facts. So sometimes you do have to ask the dumb questions. Sometimes you do have to realise, you know what, I was wrong about that, and I've learned. Or sometimes you've got to walk down that path before you can make any sort of judgment on anything. You shouldn't judge anyway, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Well, that's what I love, because then you know that you've actually made a difference, and hopefully they can go on to tell others.
Finally, before we get out of it, if somebody's listening to this that is either suffering themselves from epilepsy and hasn't really had anyone to speak to, or has got a family member that they would like to, how do they get in touch with you and start the conversation?
Well, they can go via our Facebook. We have also the website. They can also get hold of me with our telephone number, which you'll find on our website and Facebook. And we are always there. We never turn anyone away. It doesn't have to be just the person with epilepsy. It's anyone who is affected. So even friends, they can all come to us, ask questions. We are more than happy to help. And of course, we love having people coming to us, and even businesses, and asking for advice, and we love that. That's part of the passion of what we do, and if we can find out we can help, then we will.
Amazing. Well, Andy, thank you so much for putting this together and getting us in touch and breaking the ice there. I've really enjoyed this. It's nice to have conversations like this, and I hope we've helped people today with this podcast. I think we can help you. We'll try and help you if we can get some vlogs made for you or something. If we can turn up, and maybe I think coming up to a support session might be a bit too intrusive. But
that's not intrusive at all, because we ask people if they would like to come along sometimes. Sometimes throughout the year we will hold an event where people can bring along their friends as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Because it's part of who they are. That's part of their lives
welcome,
as well.
Isn't it? Welcome
Definitely, and people can see others with the epilepsy as well. We've done that, and people have loved that. Really loved that.
Fantastic. Right, well, we'll make tracks, but thank you so much for joining me, and it's been really nice chatting to you. I like to make you guys aware of our website, which is the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast.co.uk. All of our content is available at the moment. There might be a bit of a delay in sort of getting everything working in line at the moment with our content, but please go there and take a look. We're working hard to make sure it works properly. But what it is we've changed our host, so I don't use Podbean anymore, which is where my content would all go. We switched to Captivate, which creates a new, what's called an RSS feed, a new one, which redirects all of my content to iTunes and Spotify and wherever you listen to your podcast. So we'll make sure that works with the website, and that's made for us by our friends at Web Orchard. If you need a website, Web Orchard will make the perfect website for you. Yeah, they're great, and they're awesome. And whatever it is you need it for, whether you've got a charity, whether you've got a podcast, a band, or a business, whether you use Etsy, Web Orchard will make the perfect website for you. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Peace out.